So how high do you think this index is going to go? We were discussing recently that this index was most likely going to hit 3 because of the extreme fears about the trade war. And last night we got this level of doozy. Don't worry about China. It'll be fine, said everyone all the time. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The US wants to help China, not hurt it. President DJT. And would you like to guess what the market did? Well, if you guessed, ripped everyone's face off. Boy, oh boy, were you right. And in this video, we're going to be discussing where does we go from here, because the tables have turned completely. The expectations that we had for the last weekend were basically thrown out in a fugazi. And now the bear train is running everybody over, or I should say the bull train is running all the bears over, because boy, oh boy, this is a massive gap in the futures. The question is, did it get filled tonight, or are you guys waking up to see the market even up higher, like 2%? Mind you, we were down 2.7% for the S&P, 3.47% for the NASDAQ. And this is just early jump on the futures, right? We even haven't seen any news. And we also got some news out of China basically coming out and saying a similar story. Rare earth export application for civil use to be approved. Relative enterprise need not worry. So both countries are saying need not worry. And more and more details coming out that this could have been very, very overblown. China imposes special port fee on U.S. related vessels. That is a necessary defensive action. So each country is kind of going back and forth, and now the ball is in President Xi's court. Why is this important? Well, if you don't study Asian politics a lot, and why the market is reacting in this way is simple. You cannot offer insult when someone offers you respect. You're supposed to return in kind. Kind of like there's no when someone slaps you on the cheek, turn the other cheek. It's more of a slap them back. But if someone offers a hand, you are expected to offer a hand in kind. And we're seeing this with the markets basically ripping everyone's face off. We even saw crude markets, which are an early indication of like commodity prices, having a bit of a rally, which we don't like to see because it's inflationary. And we're not going to get the inflation report, as you guys all know, this week. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all plays out. The VIX, which right now is, I don't have it here published for you, is it going to come below 21? Is it going to have a reprieve of the levels that we had previously? And just looking here on the VIX on Trade Desk, we can clearly see the VIX is actually down 7%. So I don't have that up here for you guys, but basically we're going to be interested also in how Bitcoin's going to open up. Looking right here, right at the 50, everyone's a little bit scared to hold the risky assets, but the broader market is just rallying like no tomorrow. So some of the stocks that were absolutely discounted recently, like Palantir, Berkshire Hathaway, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Nvidia, right? Nvidia actually didn't even give you much of a discount, right? Came down to 183. This most likely is going to go right back to 192 this week. You've got JetQ that just got absolutely slaughtered. This thing is going to go straight to the moon if this rally continues to go. So throw in the comment section down below if you guys think this rally is going to continue. What are you excited to buy? Because boy, oh boy, there's a lot of things on the shopping list this week. And RSP, right? RSP and after hours is one that I'm going to be watching pretty heavily because I'm expecting it to open near this 50-day moving average tomorrow. I'm expecting a 2% open. I'm pretty much expecting that we reverse the entire debacle that we had. And we can see in bond market is kind of still not open yet, but I do expect bond yields to kind of calm down a little bit. People start selling bonds, so yields tick up a little bit. That is my expectation for the broader market. What I'm going to be looking at is JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan has earnings this week on Tuesday. I think that this is an amazing buying opportunity to play options, to play spreads, to play everything. Netflix as well this week going to be on deck. And Interact TSMC, or sorry, Netflix next week, TSMC is this week. And it's going to be one of those really, really things to watch. BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Citi, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, all bullish plays, right? We went over this in the last week in deep dive. If you guys missed it, make sure you guys are subscribed. But all bullish plays, JP Morgan is probably the most bullish play out of the group. Why I say that is simply it came down to the 50-day moving average. Everyone's going to be wanting to buy this up as we head into the earnings on Tuesday. So if you're looking to pick up a stock before earnings, JP Morgan is probably the one I'd be betting on. If you're looking to kick up any discounted like companies like Microsoft, or really I'd be looking at Palantir coming down to this 50-day, really hasn't rallied pretty hard, forming that cup and handle right here. Again, this is where the bullish momentum comes into play. Google has had a bit of a slanted run, but I would be betting more on like companies like Meta, for example, just because they haven't established a new low from the previous that we established here, even with the bad news, and this is just going to bolster the good news. And notice how we're not talking about Apple a lot in this video. Apple did have a big push down to previous resistance around that 241 number. If we go to after hours, actually slammed down to the previous all-time high rotation area point. Again, this is just further evidence that we're going to rally pretty hard coming into Monday. But I really want to talk about where we go from here and the weekly levels that are super, super important. And that is simply just looking at, do we get back above 661? That's the previous week rotation. The weekly candle did fall down below. So a weekly breakdown is pretty self-evident. So we're going to use the previous week's numbers to really know if we need to be bullish or bearish. If we open above 661.61, then Bob's your uncle, and to the moon we go. That would be approximately from the close a 1.35% open. At the time of this recording, the S&P is up 1%. So that means this is very, very possible. And what's also very possible is that the NASDAQ rallies 3% or just wrecks everyone over the next 2 days as the banks bolster this rally. You're sitting up for very interesting timing. And we're also going to possibly get job numbers at the end of this week. That data has not been confirmed. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel to know when those come out. We'll be doing a preview video of that and the analysis afterwards. And if you guys want to know how these levels are gotten to for the S&P and also the NASDAQ right here, which the NASDAQ levels are going to be 607,596 that we're going to be looking at, make sure you guys check out the video on the bottom left over here, which is Weekend Deep Dive. And if you want one of those longer form videos talking about the market, linked over here as well, and the Discord on the top left. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out, and I'll see you in the next one.